Hello, CFA candidates. I'm Heber Longhurst, PhD CFA. I will be your instructor for this portion where we are going to learn some of the functions for the financial calculator. For this video, I'm covering the Texas Instruments VA2 Plus or VA2 Plus Professional. In this case, I have the VA2 Plus Professional. I have another video which focuses more on the HP12C, the HP12C Platinum, etc. If you have a financial calculator, you've already invested in it, might as well learn how to use it. This will increase your speed. Remember, we only have 90 seconds per exercise. We want to get these answers right, get you certified, get you the charter, and this will reduce human error. So remember that on this calculator, you enter each menu. Second, the text above the buttons. You will see the text above the buttons. In this case, I'm going to be using data and stat. So we're going to do second data, second stat. To enter into the menus, second quit to exit the menu. To teach you the data and stat functions, we're going to work with this question. So I've got a table with returns for the stock and for the index. We want the arithmetic mean return, the standard deviation of returns for the stock as well as the index, correlation, the beta. And once we have the beta and the two averages, it doesn't take much to have the entire linear regression formula. But we can do all of that a lot quicker in this calculator. You're going to be impressed with how this works. Now, before I switch over to share the calculator screen, let's go through a little bit about what I'm going to be doing in the calculator. I'm going to do second data to enter the menu. The next thing I'm going to do is second clear. How is it? This is above the decimal, above the, by the side of the zero, there's a CE-C. Above that, there's a text that says clear work. Okay. Then for X1, I'm going to do 2, the plus minus button. So that's how I'm going to enter -2. And I always need to remember to do enter. For Y1, I'm going to do 3 plus minus, enter. And just keep going. X2, 1, enter, etc. If you can, take a screenshot of this, or I'll enter the data in the calculator, follow it with me as I'm entering in the calculator. We'll come back to Excel and make sure that I have the data entered correctly. Okay, now we've seen my iPad screen and the calculator screen. So first thing, second data, clear work. Now that I've done clear work, all of the data here is in zeros. I'm going to enter the data in the other table. 2 plus minus, enter. 3 plus minus, enter. 1, enter. 2, enter. 5 plus minus, enter. 4 plus minus, enter. 10 for X4, enter. 9 for Y4, enter. 13 for X5, 15 for Y5. Before I move on, let's make sure that we all have the same buttons in the same data in my data menu entered. So -2 for X1, -3 for Y1, 1 for X2, 2 for Y2, -5 for X3, -4 for Y3, 10 and 9 for X and Y4, 13 and 15 for X and Y5. All right. Once we have that, then the next thing we're going to do is second stat. Now, within second stat, we're going to have several options. How do I select within the different options? I do second set, and it switches to something else. In this case, I want this to be linear. I'm looking for a linear relationship between X and Y. Once I have this, menu down, total number is 5. I use the down button. The average for X is 3.4. The sample standard deviation for X is 7.76. The population standard deviation, in this case, there's only 5 data, so this is probably a sample, but the calculator never asked me if it's a sample or a population, so the population standard deviation, the calculator gave it to me. I've got my Y average, my Y sample standard deviation. I've got the y-intercept. If x were 0, what would be the value of y? I've got my beta of 1.02 and my correlation of 0.9866. So with my alpha and my beta, y is equal to 0.29 plus 1.029x. That's the regression formula. If I needed the r squared, looking at the r, I would just elevate this to the square. This is my correlation. This is one of the most interesting, time-saving, I would even say beautiful functions on this calculator. And I know we can't use Excel in the exam. I just think it's interesting to double check our work. Let's see if we got this right. So for my averages, my averages are correct. My standard deviations, we want a sample standard deviation. You can check on your calculator screens and see that these are correct. If I wanted a correlation, my correlation is correct, and my beta, this is correlation, will be my correlation times the stock standard deviation over the index standard deviation. There's my beta. You don't need to know Excel in the exam. It's just didactically sometimes easy to show things in Excel. And here we can see that the formula is the same one that we calculated in the calculator, and the correlation squared is the r squared. So that is how to use the data and stat menu. Play around with the menu a lot. Play around with all of these menus. The better you are at your calculator, the easier it will be for you on exam day. And have fun with it. I know this is stressful time, but let's get into the passion. These are a lot of interesting topics. It's wonderful to see students who are already passing the exam. I love when they tell me how they've done on the exam. And a few simple keys. Spend a lot of time in the question bank. If necessary, go back to the CFA Institute curriculum. 2 things that you should not sacrifice when you spend a lot of time in studying: get enough sleep, get enough exercise. Sleep consolidates memory, exercise increases mental agility, and we'll see you on the other side. Best of luck.